Hey there, friendlies. I hope that was all heard by you guys. I hope that the mic is working. Um, and I hope that I played long enough to get us over the advertising roll at the start. Excuse me. Allow me to put on my cans so that I can, there's no reason to until we're chit chatting, but makes me look more professional. Okay. So what are we going to do tonight? First, I'm going to take a sip of my flavored water. That's not what Russell calls tea. We're colored water. I like to counter with the fact that pretty much any beverage is colored water. Excuse me. Having a little bit of trouble here tonight, folks. So, oh well. I'm so professional, I forgot to put my my spotlight on. For those of you who are wondering, this is not product placement, but I do use the newer CN160. That means it has 160 LEDs in it. If you decide to go and buy one on Amazon, I am not yet an affiliate, so have at it, but I'm not going to make anything off the sale. Pretty good, but when you turn it off, take the damn batteries out because it absolutely devours batteries even when it's off. If that sounds like I'm damning my light with faint praise, I kind of am. I wish that I could plug it into a socket, but it works quite well. So, and it was bloody affordable. Back to the business at hand. I now have my lights, got my sound, got the people hanging with me. Wow, we're already up to 17. I guess I better bring my A game. Just kidding. All right, so before we go any further, I'd like to do the usual housekeeping. Hey there, friendlies. Welcome to the show. If you are, in fact, watching us time shifted to tomorrow or next week or next month, thank you. I love getting those eyes on my live stream even after the fact. It means a lot to me, and I love watching the comments pop up in the days following the live stream. So you guys are my heroes. Aside from that, if at some point tonight you feel that you really like what you're hearing and seeing, please feel free to hit that thumbs up. If you kind of don't like what you're hearing or seeing at any point tonight, that's okay. Just hit the frowny thumb. That works just as well. Whether or not YouTube lets us know how many people downvote something. I also like to say often that if you would like to take a more active role in supporting the channel, then please feel free to hit the join button right down there. If you click on the button, you will see the membership levels that are open to you. I would like to say that some members are watching here tonight. We got Campbell Off Grid. We have Ian the Web Lord, David Evans, Russell from Raspberry Rock. Excuse me. These people are all part of my hero squad who are helping to keep the channel going and helping me to buy equipment and music subscriptions and all the stuff that I hope is making the channel as good as it can possibly be. Excuse me. Sorry, guys. So with that out of the way, what we're talking about tonight. Oh, tea's a good drink. What we're talking about tonight was supposed to be outdoors books. And when I say outdoors, I mean any of the stuff that isn't even a tertiary way related to bushcraft survival, prepping, homesteading, off-grid living, outdoor cooking, paddling, camping, woodcraft, as they used to call it as well. But Russell suggested that we add apps into the mix as well. And I think that's a really good mix for a reason that I'll go into in an organic way as we discuss tonight. But before we get too far down the chat, I do want to say hi to the people who are hanging out tonight. So just let me scroll a bit and say my hellos. We got Canadian popped in real early. Nice to see you. Grace, of course. Nice to see you as well. <clears throat> 'Canadian' went to Cabela's today. Nice. Tenenbaum in the house. We got Country Boy Trapped in the city hanging with us. David Evans. How's it going? We got Country Boy Trapped in the city hanging with us. saying hi to me and the mods. We do have some mods with us here tonight. Again, my heroes. I definitely do not have the eyes to keep an eye on, um, trolls and stuff that do pop up, and I've got a good set of mods. Some of them are actually Russell's mods as well, which is kind of nice. So these people know what they're doing. Charles and Anna Yin, how's it going? How's the weather down there? Kristen Grounds, nice to see you. Did I say hi to Campbell Off Grid? I've had some interesting chats with Campbell lately about stuff like GoPros and such. Lipstick Lodge, how's it going, Linda? Russell's there. Nice to see you. Kelly Simmons, welcome back. Marcus, how's it going? Longest Quest, how's it going, mister? Nice to see you. We got Cliff in the house. Wow, good crew. And like a lot of people popped in nice and early. That's cool. Russell is taking me to task for my logic. Yes, you're right. Any good beverage is as good as every good beverage. Tim Keegi in the house. How's it going? Nice to see you. Ian, the web lord. So, I'm unsure. Matthew's just buried number 60. I'm not entirely sure what that. That might be a. Is that a hockey thing? Is there a game on somewhere? I'm just making sure that. Hey, Stacy's in the house too. Nice, working outside a bit, but listening. Thanks for listening, Stacy. Always nice to see your name pop up in the side chat. Russell is still taking me to task over my love of tea, but I'm okay with that because I feel safe in the knowledge that he is sick and wrong. So, let's talk about books and apps. The reason why I think that books and apps are a really good pairing is because I have some books that I would be perfectly. Excuse me. Oh, that's early to be yawning. Sorry, guys. I have some books that I would be perfectly happy with using as apps instead of books. And I have books that I wouldn't want to be apps. I also have a book that I bought very recently, but because life keeps getting in the way, I have not yet had a chance to even crack the spine on this. My plan, because we were going to be talking about books and such tonight, was to get this last week, read half of it before tonight, and hold forth on it. Speak as one who has read the words and give maybe a little review, or as a way of introducing the subject of outdoors books, which is a topic that I think we should revisit, like maybe once a year or something. Before I did memberships, when I still had Patreon subscribers or supporters, the concept was that I would do a book club for the Patreon supporters. Once a month, we would do a live stream. Like we would read a book, then once a month get together, discuss it, set the next book. But it never got off the ground. I feel that it's really tough to try and get a book club going in the 21st century. But I like books and I like talking about books. And I forgot to pour the beer. So I don't know. I would like to revisit books, maybe once or twice a year. What do you guys think? Tell me in the side chat if you think it's a good idea to revisit and how often you think we should. Because here's the thing. When I was a younger person, bought a shift ton of books. Like I was the kind of kid who would go through a book or two a week kind of thing. And so to me, buying books was just part of what one did. But I'm not reading as... Sorry, I'm trying not to goosh beer all over the place. I don't read as often as I used to. When I started working in the publishing industry, reading stopped being something I did for pleasure and started being something that I did professionally, and I'm not in the publishing industry anymore, but I still write for a living, and so I'm still kind of damaged by that 25 years, whatever, that I was in publishing. I wish Serge was here because I'm pouring beer, and I don't think I'm going to ruin it tonight. I want him to see me pour a non-destroyed glass of beer. Am I being cocky, or am I gonna duff it up now? Now, snatch defeat from the jaws of victory here? I don't think so. I don't think that's what's going to happen at all. Ba ba ba. So this is L'Exploité Stout Mocha by Brasseur du Monde. Local brewery. Is it local, or is it just somewhat local? Saint-Hyacinthe. So it's local-ish. It's about a 45-minute to an hour drive from Montreal. It might even be like a half hour, but it's a small town. Oh, that's mocha, all right. Yeah, there's a real chocolatey thing happening there, and a coffee effect as well. Nice. But I do taste a little high octane. It says strong beer on it. Am I sinking? Oh, it's only 6.5%. Okay, it's not so bad. That's for now. For later on, Race is a new distillery. It opened in 2017. I just shot a review of this for my other channel at the weekend. Spoiler alert. I think there's a lot of potential in this juice. But I feel like they haven't quite gotten to where they want to be yet. I had a hard time finding the center of it. But I still, it's a good set of flavors. Hold on, let me just take a look, just to see if anyone, people are saying hi to each other. Grace says, no signal where I camp, so if I relied on an app, I'd be up a creek. Nice. Yep, absolutely. Well, skip the dishes might count depending on where you're camping, Canadian. Cabell Off-Grid, does Ontario Out of Doors count? I believe that's a magazine, right? I was going to bring that up, actually, because what do I get? Hold on. What is this? I get a couple of magazines. So here's Explore, and there's another one that I get as well. And I love magazines. It's my favorite print medium. Absolutely. I always have a magazine around, whether I'm in the woods or not. It does take me a lot longer to read through a magazine than it used to, though. But to me, magazines absolutely count. They're not quite the same as books. I mean, the longevity isn't there. But yeah, Sharon Q in the house. Nice to see you. Canadian says, I get Ontario Out of Doors as part of my OFA membership. Is OFA Ontario Fishing and Hunting? Is that what that stands for? I have no idea. Thank you. Russell notices my good pour. Klingon Princess. You didn't write in chat. Looking forward to the topic. I hope that the topic goes very well. I don't believe I've seen you here before, Klingon Princess, but welcome to the stream. I have a huge pile of books. I have a sizable pile of books right next to me that I will show at least some of them off as we discuss. But you know what, guys, drop in the side chat here. Drop your favorite outdoor books, or your favorite category of outdoor books, or just one that always comes with you. And so anything you can drop there. Maybe a little later I'll put I or Russell will put the link in the side chat if you want to come on for a couple of minutes and talk about your, what makes a good outdoors book for you or a good outdoors app. Tenenbaum says there are some good apps that do not need network connectivity. All need your phone to have juice. That's very true. If you don't have juice, the apps are not useful. And this is do I want to get into this now? Okay. Yes. I do want to say what Russell just asked, though. Russell asked, oh, and by the way, if you guys have actual questions at any point tonight, just to make sure that I notice them, put in big caps, question, colon, and then ask your question, just to make sure that I don't see it. If you do ask a question and I don't see it, just ask it again, and I will eventually see it. Russell asks, are there any phone apps that help you find ground land? And it's almost as though I asked you to ask me that question, Russell, because yeah, there is. I don't know if you can see this, but BRMB maps, okay. It has a layer for crown land. And the beautiful thing about this, the reason that's a paid optional. You have to subscribe, okay? I think it's like $8 a month or something. But it includes Quebec crown land, which is the wild card for all of this stuff because of where I live. Finding an app that shows Quebec crown land is nigh on impossible. So when I saw that one did, I was like, shut up and take my money. So yeah, and there are a couple. There's BRMB. There's another one, more of a backpacking one, I think, and I don't remember what it's called. But there are a couple. Not a lot though. You're sort of stuck with one or two choices. I went for the BRMB one because I couldn't get the other one to work for Quebec, even though they said it did. Raspberry Rock has a GPS app that can download maps for specific areas that he wants to have. Now, here's the thing. Oh yeah, and Tenenbaum is agreeing with you because Grace asked Tenenbaum, such as, I think, Grace, you could probably find a lot of good options out there because cell coverage and GPS connectivity are not necessarily the same thing. Ah, that's what it is. Okay, Ontario Federation of Anglers and Hunters. Okay, fair enough. Tim says, I don't read paper books, mainly digital. I've learned the most watching YouTube channels. Yeah, Tenenbaum, I think you're right. I think Gaia GPS as well. Do I have that? Or did I download it at one point? Yes, Gaia GPS. Here's the thing. I have some of these apps on my phone, but I can't remember what they're called. And so sometimes I'll notice the icon, like, what was that? And is Gaia GPS a subscription, or I just have to download the maps? Okay, so Grace, this is important. So this is Gaia GPS, okay? And on the splash screen here, I've got release notes, I have a survey, Gaia GPS news. Did you know? Remember to download maps so you can use Gaia GPS when you are out of cell range. Gaia GPS. So if anyone has a link to that, you can drop it in the side chat so that Grace can take a look for it. I'm trying to get past this splash page, but it ain't happening. Doesn't matter. I don't need it right now anyway. Yes, and in fact, Country Boy Trap in the City is backing me up on that. Not all provinces, but like Ontario, BC, I think there's Alberta and Quebec. I think I'm missing one. It might be New Brunswick, but I'm not sure. Cows in the House Carol is, by the way, a channel member, which makes her one of my personal heroes. Hike with Mike in the house as well. What a great crew we got here tonight, guys. Yes, and Russell bringing us back on target again. What about books that are just good to read while you're sitting by the fire? Okay, so I'm going to just so this would be a book you read sitting by the fire, and I kind of want to have Kevin on to talk about this because this is not your typical Kevin Callan book. Okay, this is not a guidebook. It's like a memoir of a paddling journey, and I'm not. I think it's the meanest link, but I'm not entirely sure. As I said, I wanted to have half of this read by the time I met you guys, but did not happen because life keeps getting in the way. I believe he had to self-publish this one because it's so different from what his publishers expect from him. But yeah, this is the kind of book you read while sitting there and relaxing at the end of the night. To a certain extent, and this is a question I'm asking you guys too. By the way, I remember I asked you guys to drop some, your favorite books in the side chat, and I forgot to scroll down for it. Russell, we're gradually becoming the same person. That would be awkward for our wives, let me tell you. Destiny in the house. How's it going? Destiny, we were just talking about a couple of apps that like Gaia GPS works without oops. Gaia GPS works without cell signal. BRMB Maps will give you a layer for Crown Land, but that's not a free part of the app. If you want the Crown Land and a couple of other layers, you have to get a monthly subscription. Oh. Probably the most classic bushcraft style carving book there is, right? This is by Villa Sundquist. So this was by Villa Sundquist. It's everything from, it starts with very, very basic cuts, knives, equipment, the way to hold your hands, carving buttons, and it ends with some really beautiful scrimshaw and stuff like that. And by the way, I would like to just point something out, because in the spoon carving communities on the Facebooks and stuff, they're very into, you don't use a bandsaw because it's not true to the, wait, what the hell is that right there? If Villa Sundquist uses a bandsaw, you can use a bandsaw. The reason why it's something that I think about at all, because here he's using a fret saw. The reason I speak about it at all is because I have a degenerative arthritis in my wrist. So at one point, I will probably be using a lot of bandsaw work for spoon carving. I read this book, and this is not a gun channel, or we're not going to talk about pew-pews, but Jack O'Connor, seminal boomstick writer. The man's name is synonymous with the Winchester Model 70. In fact, he's probably one of the reasons that became the rifleman's rifle. And it's a real good sort of general read for sitting next to the fire. I read this entire book while sitting at the hunt camp next to a wood burning stove. I have no idea if it's still in print at all, but I like these old books. I like thinking about previous times. That's another one that you read by the fire. This is what Russell was saying, like what you guys read just when you're sitting at the fire and relaxing, hold on a second. So Campbell's asking Russell what's a good example of a book he would read by the fire, and Russell is being a really funny guy. How to put out fires. After the amount of beers that you and I drink whenever we're together, you just stand next to the fire and let it rip. David, yeah, we were just mentioning Gaia GPS. I'll see if there's a link that I can drop. Boom, boom. Okay, for those of you who are wondering about a good GPS app for your Fune, This one is very popular, and it must be popular for good reason. I've just put the link in the side chat, but I shall share the screenage just to be on the just to be all like expository and everything. There you go. That's the logo you're looking for at the App Store or whatever, but whatever the Google store is called. That's what you're looking for right there. That is my cursor showing up? Yeah. So that's it. Gaia GPS. So I shall now hide the screen that I had been sharing. Klingon Princess. Oh, you mod for North Shore. Okay. Yeah, good stuff. Mad Shot, I don't think I've checked out yet, but North Shore, I know. Absolutely. I love it. Sharon's like, how long do you have? You want to get into this conversation? Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. You're sitting at the fire. That's where, you read your adventure stories, your wilderness stories. And, like a lot of what I like to read are old books, but actually, it kind of looks like everything I like to read along those lines are old books. But I've read some more sort of like more modern war memoirs, like Empty Casing, and stuff like that. But when I'm sitting next to the fire, I really like the stuff that is old school, like 1950s era, 60s era, earlier. I read The Lost World sitting next to a fire. I read, Thoreau sitting next to a fire. All the stuff that if I was to pop them out at home, crack the spine, I would kind of feel like I needed to light like an oil lamp to read them, or something, or like have a gas light. David Evans also put the link for Gaia GPS in the side chat. Thank you very much, Mr. David. And Destiny saw that. Canadian says Kevin is fun to watch. He is, absolutely. He's good on screen. Yeah. Okay. So Linda's just telling Destiny. Yeah, it was the one that I was mentioning. Hi, with Mike says I always have Henry David Thoreau's book and the Tao of Pooh in my backpack when I'm in the woods. You're hitting on something that I was going to get to a little later, but maybe we'll just hold on a second. You're watching Lost Lake's last vid before you went live, and I think John should definitely write a book. His narration is awesome. I will take a look. I'll take a look for that. Whoa, everything just jumped. Oh man, I am so far behind. Sorry. Okay, hike. Oh, that's cool. Campbell says, when I was a young fellow sitting by the campfire, Dad used to recite Robert Service poems. I don't know why you just reminded me of this, but when I was a young tyke, my mother and father read us The Hobbit and then Lord of the Rings. But in our house, for some reason, story time was at the supper table. Like it wasn't at bedtime; it was after supper, and we were read like The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, right? Like the Narnia series, and then the Tolkien stuff. Not the deep Tolkien stuff, right? We're not talking the Silmarillion or anything, but the Hobbit and then Lord of the Rings. Tinnerbomb says, due to a recent CBC short documentary, I now want to read The Last Guide, which is about the life of Mark Kwiak, who worked as an Algonquin Park fishing guide since the 1940s until his recent death. And I do believe also experienced that short documentary because I remember the last guide in like one of those CBC voices. Video link. I will definitely check on that later. Canadian liked it too. Ron Corbett wrote the book apparently. Lipstick Lodge says, not a book, but when I moved here, I bought the waterproof Algonquin Park map. Waterproof maps. Can't go wrong. Destiny is talking about a fascinating series of books, mostly written, printed by 1920 and before outdoor life. Some are wild, like the one that chronicles early Americans living in trees while their cabins were built. And so fascinating was the name of the series? That sounds like the kind of thing I got to go and look for. Stacy's Russell says that Stacy's trip down the Yukon River would have made a great read with all the old cabins and stuff she visited. There was a book that I read about a trip down a river in the Yukon, but I don't remember what it was. Okay, what Canadian is mentioning here, he says the problem with GPS apps in wilderness is the false knowledge it gives to people who shouldn't be in the bush. Yeah, I think that GPS has changed many things for the outdoorsman, but you still need to have basic orienteering skills because your phone may die on you because there's nothing to plug it into out there, or it may get dropped in the drink or something, and you got to know how to get back home. And I just had a brain fart going riffing off of what Canadian said and Lipstick talking about the waterproof map is. Here's an old trick that you guys might want to think about next time you go into the woods. On a piece of parchment paper, with a pencil, write out all the particulars of where you're trying to get to, or what you're trying to do, or your directions or whatever. Because parchment paper, if it gets soaked, is not going to go to bits the way normal straight up printer paper will. And with the pencil on it, it won't bleed into illegibility either. I haven't done that, by the way, but it is something that I just remembered. That was sort of like an old timer's trick. Linda's camping books are all still packed away. Yeah, but you'll unpack them as your house gets finished, and you start working that stuff out. Robin says the old short stories published in Reader's Digest. Yeah, those old Reader's Digests from back in the day that had like 4 books in each. Absolutely. Back when people read off of paper. Absolutely. And by the way, Robin is another channel member, which means he's a personal hero of mine. Well, Destiny just dropped me $20. That will go into the new computer fund. Thank you very much, Destiny. That is a very nice gift. I have a couple of apps on my phone. Like maybe what I should do is, you guys, I don't know how many of you know this, but I have this totally dormant blog, raindancebushcraft.com or .ca or WordPress, something. Maybe what I should do is list somewhere, like maybe there or on my Facebook, my channel's Facebook page, all the apps, the outdoorsy apps that I have on my phone and what I think about them. Do you guys think that would be useful? I'd probably do it on the Facebooks because who the hell reads blogs these days? Except for me and Robin. Sharon says, Fish Online is a great online map system over some others, updated more often than Google Earth. Interesting. David says, I'm currently reading Up North again, all about Ontario's wilderness, different flowers, trees, birds, wildlife, etc. Now, what I want to say is, okay, I want to skip past something to get to another point that I want to make tonight. Okay, so these are books that I read sitting next to a fire, but they're not the reason I have them. Okay, these are guides, edible wild plants, which I haven't really used because I bring the book into the woods. I see something, it looks like the thing on the page, but I'm still too afraid to go for it. This is the Audubon Society Guide to Trees of Eastern North America, because that's where I live. It is gorgeous, beautifully put together, photographic pictures, just a terrific book. But you know what? This one fits in the pocket of my cargo pants. You know, like there's like this one should fit because of look at that shape, but right. This one I like having in the pocket of my pants. Okay. It's just as good in many ways. I mean, it's old school. Okay, this is old school. What is cool about it is on the back here. I don't know if you can see it, but that's a measuring like a ruler for tree X has leaves that are 6 inches long. Yeah, okay. What the heck? That's inches, and I believe on the previous page, please be right about this, Jess. I have used this book so much that it's starting to come apart. Yeah, there's millimeters and centimeters. Again, very nice book, very good information. Doesn't go quite as into detail, but the portability and the foldability and all that means that this is the book I bring with me. This is the one. This is the one I want to bring with me. But when I'm packing my bag and I'm running out of space, this one always gets left on the table or on the shelf. This one comes with me because I'm not sticking it into my bag. I'm sticking it into the pocket on my pants. So this one I would be fine with using as an app. That's an app right there. That's an app because it doesn't come to the woods with me otherwise. This one I don't need it to be an app. And I'm old school, so I don't like I prefer the feel of doing this to scrolling this. Especially because like for certain trees, I don't have to go alphabetical. I know kind of in the book where it is because you can sort of see the pages I've opened up the most, right? Yeah, pines, because I'm all about the conifers. And here's another pocket guide to trees that doesn't come with me because it's shredding itself slowly. The pictures are beautiful in like a real old school way and everything. But this book would not last. It's just not robust enough. But I love these old books that just. But it's not going to come to the woods with me. This one, in fact, it doesn't even come off the shelf because I have these two. And okay, this one is only Eastern North America, but that's where I live, dude. And it's a thicker book with more pages and stuff, but that doesn't mean that it's got like way more trees. It's just that it's got an entire section that's all. I'm not on camera. That's all, photographs. Right. So the actual book is not that much thicker. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like this is a much, much more useful book than this one. Okay, there's a question that I can throw out to you guys. What is your favorite field guide series? Are you guys all about the Peterson? Or do you like the sort of the Golden Field guides from St. Martin's Press? I like these. Or are you into the Audubon? Yeah, what's your favorite? What do you guys like? and why? Let me know down the bottom. Okay, I've spoken about this book ad nauseum. You guys don't need to hear about it, but this is another one that I would read sitting next to the fire. Absolutely. I kind of want to talk about sizes. I want to see what you guys are saying first, though. Because you guys are saying things, and I realize that. Boom, 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 boom. I always carry a small. Hike with Mike always carries a small notebook, as do I. You can keep it in a Ziploc bag so you don't have one of those right in the rain things. Canadian, you're absolutely right. If you're going somewhere new, bring flagging tape. And the instant you realize you don't recognize what you're doing, flag something and then triangulate off of it so that at least you can always come back to the same spot and sort of have a little, like a home base to work from. Oh, excuse me. Okay. Hike with Mike has used blue duct tape as flagging tape. A lot of people will carry a little, wrap up a little bit of duct tape anyway. It's good for so many things. Yeah, Russell wants to talk about the reference books, which is what I'm doing a little bit. Country Boy always carries a compass and flagging tape. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. When you've, I don't want to talk about it too much, but when you've tagged an animal and it just, while you're trying to find it, you can get lost very easily. Yeah. Whenever I've been in the woods, when my weekend is over, I've always gone and taken my tape down, or taken down the cordage I've used to put up like a temporary shelter or anything that over time could start digging into the bark of a tree as it grows. You know, like if I used a bank liner or something. Tenenbaum is still learning his European trees. You must live up in the Boreal, which, by the way, for those of you who don't know me very well, let me just say, is the finest forest on Earth. Nothing like the Boreal. Here's Robin showing his age. You need to be more efficient and have everything on microfilm. No, I still get headaches just thinking about looking through microfilm. Yeah, duct tape is very good for that, Linda. Russell.
Hello.
City Girl still with you?
Yep, she's here. She's on the couch watching something else.
How's she feeling?
Better. She's getting better.
Good.
Yep,
Yeah,
slowly.
My dad tested positive a couple of days ago.
And I'm still negative, as far as I know.
Oh.
It's funny because I was having some. We're talking about COVID, of course. I was having some slight symptoms, like very slight. And I thought, okay, well, maybe I've got it. But then I was looking at one of the medications my doctor gave to me recently, prescribed to me recently, and I'm like, side effects, flu-like symptoms. Okay. So I stopped taking it, and I still got a bit of a cough, but I don't know. Testing negative.
Right. Linda likes good guidebooks too. She has an Audubon bird book. Are the bird books sort of done the same way as the tree books? Are they split up like Eastern North America, Western? And in fact, it's good that you brought up bird books, Linda, because bird books are what I have as apps. Because I'm marching through the woods. What the hell is that? Snap, scroll, scroll, scroll. Oh, it's a goldfinch, he said, pulling a bird name out of the ether.
It's a what's a dingy?
Yeah, it's a whatchamacallit. What's the thing? He sounds like you're walking through a Dr. Seuss forest. Where all the trees are pink and yellow. Or, you?
Remind me of City Girl's got an app on her phone. I think it's called Picture This.
Yep.
And it's for plants and flora and fauna. And she takes a picture and it comes up and it tells her what it is.
I have it too. I have the one for birds. I have the one for flora and fauna, and I have the one for rocks, which I just downloaded 2 days ago. Oh, and bugs.
Rocks.
Yeah, they do bugs. I got the whole set.
I like the rocks one. It's a rock.
Yeah. What is that?
Thanks. I wouldn't have known.
Granite.
I thought it was a turtle. It's a rock. Oh. Like they give me these apps.
Yeah. You need some apps. David says another book I always refer to as a pocket guide to knots and splices. And it's funny because just before I clicked on that, I was like, knots and spices. But yes, knots and splices. I need a good knot book. I have several knots apps because I like to be able to see them. I thought that being able to see them in motion was where the benefit would be, but it's not. It's not, because invariably all I needed to see was a series of pictures, or like watch on a YouTube or something.
It makes sense. And knots are so useful. Like the various types of knots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. David is all about the Peterson guides. Linda's all about the Audubon books. Yeah, everyone's got a different taste, and like they're two very different design philosophies, right? Very, very different sets of books. I don't find that the Audubon, I mean, they're bendy and everything, and they're very rugged, but it doesn't seem as packable to me. They also cost the moon. This was a $23 book. That's that's Canadian dollars, not freedom dollars.
Yeah, at $23, you just can't afford the moon.
No, can't afford the moon. But one thing I wanted to talk about, and like right now, this has all been about bushcraft books or field guides because that's what I do. But there are also books about homesteading and such and such. Someone was going to bring it up. David, my favorite childhood outdoors novel was My Side of the Mountain. Most of us read it in grade school. Thing is, I went to grade school in Quebec. I never read that book. I want to read that book. I'm going to pick it up at some point. But it's like everyone except me has read that book, it feels. Hey there, Alain. We're talking about books and apps and stuff.
Bonjour, Alain. I haven't read the book, but I saw the movie.
Okay. Any good?
Which was, well, it was, as a kid, I really enjoyed it. It's magical. I mean, this kid goes off and lives, in the wilderness in this
Catskills,
tree.
right? Right.
Yeah, and he's got a pet falcon, and
right.
It's pretty cool.
Alain says he uses the Merlin app for birds, and I do as well. I use the Merlin app, and I have the whatever is the app that the feeder count, the bird count that Birds Canada is doing right now.
I wonder if we should have had links for all these apps prepared.
I do believe we should have. Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
If we prepared anything. I mean, I did a thumbnail, but
yeah, I wanted to prepare, and I had great hopes and plans.
Dreams. They're all dreams.
Dreams. It's all dreams. Tim says the reason I do not read books is because I'm severely dyslexic. YouTube and the internet in general have been my savior. Legit. I'm someone who likes to read, but learns best with someone sitting next to him and saying, "You're doing that wrong. It's like this." Like that, I learn the best. It's a very tactile thing for me. I watch YouTube's as a second best. Reading books to learn how to do something is really hard for me. It's really tough. It's good if there's like a lot of diagrams and stuff, because I had my mind polluted by a lifetime spent in art school, so I'm very, very visual. So that's why, like, show me, don't describe it, show me.
When I've said this before, but when I was building my cabin, I would download YouTube videos, put them on my laptop, and bring them up here for like installing windows. Open up the laptop, watch the video, how to install a window. Okay,
Yeah.
get it. There's
Yeah,
no way
fair.
a book could help me.
Absolutely. Hey, look who's here, Dennis. I was in for
Hey, Dennis.
small chunks of your live stream tonight. It was a good one, and I loved it. Man, those of you who haven't seen Avid Outdoorsy guy in a while, he's got this soup catcher like you guys wouldn't believe. This big luxurious beer. It's like, wow, look at that. That's gonna be catching some grasshoppers next time you're in the woods. But it was impressive. I liked it. I got Mike says The Tracker by Tom Brown Jr. is a great book. It had an impact on me and started. Didn't Tom Brown make a knife called the Tracker? It's like this big ugly thing, but it's useful for a million things. Am I wrong? Hey, Shawnee. Shawnee has the Peterson's Guide for her area. I haven't read any of the other versions to compare. I do enjoy my books that tell me how to use a plant, what to make with it, or how to ingest it.
Oh, hi, Shawnee.
A lot of people saying hi to Dennis. David is saying the Peterson's Field Guide series is sponsored by the National Audubon. Oh, didn't know that. Then why the hell are they making their own books? Just was Beard Johnson. Hey, Sean Alaska's here. Nice to see you. So look. Okay. I used to work at Reader's Digest, so of course I have this. And what I wanted to say is, like, this is not useful for me. What this is for, the home, like the bird watcher who's got a big porch next to a piece of forest, and he has this there. This doesn't come to the field with you. I mean, it's a beautiful book, very old school, but this is not packable. This sits next to you on the porch, and you're like, oh, well, what is that?
It sits at my cabin by the door, right?
Yeah, it sits at the cabin by the door. Yeah.
Can you bring that with you and leave it with me?
Sure. Why not?
Put it by the door.
I mean, I don't use it, and I didn't have to pay for it because I worked there. But similarly, like, how many of us have this, right? I mean, how many of us have this?
I have a version of that. Yeah.
This book should be a quarter of the size. In fact, I think there's a version of it that is pocketable. At this size, it's not useful. It's not.
My version is much smaller than that. I wonder if I've got it handy.
Yeah, and I'm sure that I've seen or held a much smaller version. Because this is not packable. It's a bloody great book, but it's not packable. I'm not carrying that into the woods because I've got other things in my backpack, and I'm trying not to load myself down. I'm not a Sherpa, and I'm not a burro. Very useful book, but like, I have a lot of these books sitting here that, like, this is a good size, right? And this is one that I will read sitting next to the fire. Shelters, Shacks, and Shanties by D.C. Beard. Okay, it's, if you're looking for just some cool reading, it's not that, but it does go into, like, how to cut and notch logs, right? It's got diagrams for how to build, except that now I can't find one. Like, diagrams for building anything from, like, a lean-to a log cabin. Look at that, though. That's packable as hell. If worse comes to worse, you can stick that in the side pocket on your backpack. You can stuff it into. It's a little big for a cargo pocket, but I mean, if you're wearing combat pants, you can probably do it.
I couldn't. My SAS book is packed away somewhere upstairs, but I think it's a little bit smaller than this book, which is also a good one to have around, of course.
Yeah, that sure is.
The first aid, St. John's Ambulance first aid. I got this on my first aid course, I think.
Yeah,
but
good size. It's got to be packable. You know, like look at the size of this book. I mean, most of us have read this, right? I mean, I've read this, and I had an audio book for when I was driving, so that I could read it again. That's the kind of old school book I love. You know, and this I would read next to the fire. Well, I have read it next to the fire, evidently.
That's it. You want all your books to smell kind of smoky.
Yeah. Camping with kids, which for some of us is important. It's a little big.
You know, that's a wonderful thing, actually. Get all your books to smell kind of like a smoky campfire, because then when you're stuck at home and you're dreaming of the outdoor life, just open one of those books and read it nice and close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, this is the first Kevin Callan book I ever had. This is a very old school design at this point. What is this? 1992, 1989. I mean, this whole book is a previous generation design. But
pictures though.
Yeah, it's not that old. It's just it looks like it came from the time when everyone's winter jackets were really, really colorful. You know what I'm saying? And kind of poofy. 2005. This is 2005. Shame on them for that. Even that font. That's not a 21st century font. Give me a break. No, that's unforgivable. But it's just it's too big. This is the kind of thing I would read. You know, that's my bedtime book. I'm not going to bring that actually camping. That's a bedtime book for, you know, in the lead up to camping. Of course, I got room for you, Dennis.
I'm gonna will... Got it. I got it.
Okay, you got it.
Yeah.
But here's a. Hey, where did I put it? Somewhere around here, I have my copy of the Kevin Ride book.
Carol, yeah. Hello, Carol.
Where the heck did I put it? Kevin Ride book, where art thou? I wanted to show it because no, it's not here. I'm gonna get some of these books down off the down out of the way.
Hey, Dennis.
Hi, Dennis.
There you go, Jess. I got it for you.
Oh, there you go. I just found it. Oh, yeah. You see, that's the size the survival. All survival books should be that size, because I think that a survival book should be in your bag.
Okay, but how are the pictures? Like setting up a tent? Are the pictures big enough to see what's actually happening?
That's a good point.
Yeah. Things are pretty good. All color and stuff, and like you know.
You have to bring your strongest glasses to read it.
I do. I do.
Well, I know, right? I'm at that stage where like I'm looking. Okay, this pair isn't strong enough. This pair isn't strong enough.
Right.
Or I'll get my dog to hold it for me about 20 feet away. Right. So
right.
Actually, a handy book. I should read this again. I haven't read this book in probably 10, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's great to brush up because I can't believe how much information is in this. Well, probably the same amount of information as in yours, right?
Yeah, but yours is a little more packable. It's good that you brought up sort of brushing up, though, because that's what that kind of book, that's what you need to. I'm going to start that whole sentence again. Okay, here we go. Books like that you should be constantly brushing up on, or books like the medical one that Russell. Okay, I pointed in the right direction. That Russell held up. That's the kind of thing you should flip through every now and again. You don't have to do a deep dive all the time, but you got to at least flip through it just to sort of brush up on a certain things, you know?
It's true. Well, absolutely. And it's funny that this book is probably like 12 years old, 15 years old, maybe. And they come out with new ones all the time. I was like, in fact, the last time I went for my first aid refresher, they're like, okay, we do tourniquets differently now. I'm like, what?
Oh,
right.
Right.
And the Heimlich maneuver is no longer the Heimlich maneuver because the family trademarked it or something, copyrighted it. Like, oh, okay, what do we call it? You still do it the same way? Yeah, we still do it the same way. We just can't call it that.
Amazing. Okay.
That's fun.
Hold on a sec. I realized that I was being so fascinating that I skipped over all the In the woodwork.
What do you got, Jess?
I love it. I love it. I was just saying on Russell's Discord earlier that I should probably make some special features.
So
Actually,
Jeff, oh, sorry, I was just going to ask. So your topic tonight, you're talking about different apps and stuff like that.
it was originally just books, but yeah, books and apps. Because I want to show this, and I've been trying to get to this later, but you guys might understand. So, wilderness skills, survival books. The size that Dennis held up is terrific. Look at how big all these bastards are. Like, if anything screams coffee table book disguised as a wilderness skills book, it's this guy, right? Look at how big that is. And it's even got like the little metal corners on it, right? I mean, it's a beautiful book.
Yeah, but those metal corners, if you got it back in the bush, you could pick them off and turn them into a fishing hook.
I don't know if you're being devil's advocate or if you're like just, sort of being, look on the bright side, Jess. It's a great looking book, but this is a coffee table book. No matter how you slice it. This is not coming. I'm not sticking that in my bag. Total outdoorsman, my butt. It's like, here's how you hunt for geese. No, doves. Sorry.
I wonder how many books like that are just meant for like armchair enthusiasts.
This one, absolutely.
Have you read How to Shit in the Woods?
No, not yet.
It's a pretty good one. It's a little comical. I've got that as an ebook, or one of the ones that reads it to you. Yeah, ebook, right?
Audiobook.
Audiobook, yes. Oh, Kirtley. Yep.
Yeah, Kirtley. I mean, who the hell doesn't respect Kirtley? But right? Yeah. What? I mean, it's a great looking book. I have that saw, but like this kind of stuff is a coffee table book. This isn't the kind of thing that you read while you're in the woods. But the thing about these kind of skills is you want to have a book along with you so you can brush up after supper sitting by the fire. One of the greatest joys of being out in the woods is to sit there and read something by the fire afterwards. Well, to me, one of the greatest joys is to sit there and read something after the fire. But this isn't going to fit into my backpack.
That's another good book by Canterbury.
Yep.
And his other, what's the other one there I've got to, it's also as an audio book. Try and find a topic on an audio book. You know what I mean? If you need to learn something, you know where it is kind of in the book, right? But on an audio book, it's like 10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Yeah. Absolutely. The indexing on audiobooks is terrible. Absolutely. And like, but I was going to bring up, Sean, Alaska. Actually, here's something that, go to the next one, what Alain says. And I'll just pop it up. I'm not one to pack a book with me on a trip. They're simply too heavy to pack. I'd rather read them at home on my spare time. And some of these books that I'm showing are absolutely meant for that. That Paul Kirtley book, that's not coming with you in the woods. Even if you're canoe camping and you're like, oh, I can just sort of throw this book into the canoe. No, that book is staying home. You're reading it at home. Maybe because you're getting excited about your upcoming trip. So you're reading everything you can on the outdoors and stuff. Absolutely. This is not necessarily going to go with you either, especially because some of it is about dehydrating your food for later. But if you're doing your week-long canoe trip right, you're preparing all your recipes at home anyway, so that all you do is you throw water into them or whatever like, oh, this is a mung bean stew. Well, you've already portioned out your mung beans. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not cracking open your forest fridge and okay, I need a pepper, I need 2 tomatoes and rice. Was it arborio or was it like basmati. No, you're using a book like this beforehand, preparing your recipes, portioning them out, so that all you're doing when you get to the woods is cooking that stuff, right? So it doesn't, like, this book could be a big hardback if you wanted it to be. I don't like hardbacks, so I'm kind of glad that it went this way, so that I can just sort of like do this. Okay.
It's available as a hard copy as well, though.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have bought it as a hardback.
But just how many of those books? I mean, like the couple of those hardcover books you just showed us. Like, how many of those would you just kind of use in your backyard to practice those skills? You know, so that when you get out in the bush, you don't need the book; you've practiced them at home, kind of thing.
Well, and that's a legit question.
I would say that any book you take out into the bush is just going to be for reference. You know.
Yeah, because that's not where you want to learn your skills, right? Absolutely. Yeah. I get it.
I agree with you, though, Jess. That anything that's a hardcover is a coffee table book, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Anything that's a hardcover, yeah.
Fine, agree with Jess.
Yeah.
I'm just such an agreeable guy. What can I say? Yeah, and but like in that case, though, like I don't really want to. I'm not trying to push business or anything because I don't work there anymore. But the gardening book I did with Reader's Digest. This is designed to go into your backyard, right? Like, this opens up all the freaking way, dude. So you can have this open, and you're not worried about it sort of doing this while you're trying to while you're trying to learn anything. So like these books, these hardbacks. Hold on. Like these hardbacks, especially when they're still kind of new, right? I want to learn how to light a fire without a match, right? Well, actually, now it's sitting there just to prove me wrong.
Well, it's because it's not windy in your basement. That's why.
Piss off, Paul Kirtley. Hold on.
Jess,
let's try with this one.
Grab some clothespins. You're still at home, Jess.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah. You guys are a bunch of brats. Okay, now this one's not working either because it's not windy in my basement. But
I'm a genius on your live streams.
Yeah, you're amazing. You're fabulous. Or like, how many of you guys have read Cody Lundine's book?
What does it say? When all hell
breaks loose. Stuff you need to survive when disaster strikes.
Ooh,
Familiar, let fantastic food.
That's a thumbnail and title right there.
Yeah. But the thing about Cody Lundine is he's like the barefoot survivalist, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, there's some sort of, I don't know.
Was that the singer from Guns N' Roses?
Let's not make fun, but I mean, look at his illustrations.
No, I'm serious.
You know, look at these illustrations. I mean, there's a real sort of B-list element.
Was that a witch doctor?
Called witch doctor and told him what to. Like the quality, like this seems almost self-published. I'm just seeing if Gibbs Smith is a self-publisher or if it's no, they just specialize in this kind of stuff. But like, there's all kinds of quotes on the back here. When All Hell Breaks Loose by Cody Lundine instructs readers how to dispose of bodies and dine on rats and dogs in the event of a disaster. That's by the New York Times.
You know what we need on here? You should have Kevin on here.
Yeah. I kind of want to have Kevin on to talk about... wait, are we talking Kevin Wright or Kevin Callan?
Either or.
Yeah.
But Kevin Callan there, he can maybe explain why his books are the size they are.
That's a good point. But I want to ask him about this one because this one is fascinating. Like the story, like, because he had to self-publish this one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was his first self-published book, that one.
Yeah. Which is interesting. But like, the reason why I go into the size of books is because I'm very into things that are like fit for purpose, right? Like if I'm going into the woods, Which of these saws do you think I'm going to bring?
Oh, the one,
It-
not the Gomboy, the other one.
Stop being a brat. That's like a Kevin Callan comment. But do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm about stuff that is fit for purpose. Like, if I'm bringing...
That one on your right looks like you're going to chop up a body. Christ, it's huge.
I've seen that in autopsy kits.
It's a dovetail saw. Relax, guys. Obviously, I'm with a couple of real woodworkers here. Hey, okay. I'm trying to make a point, but you guys are ruining it.
Oh, we get your point, Jess.
We've come across this 10-foot grizzly bear. Time to dismember it.
Come on, I can't be funny on my own. I might as well be funny on yours, right?
It takes so long to get through bone. Like I mean, what you guys are saying makes perfect sense, though. Like, some books are not meant to come to the woods. Like this silly Field and Stream book. You're right. It doesn't come to the woods. This is what you read while you're dreaming about going to the woods.
Well, here's a good question. Like, how many of those books would you just prefer as on your cell phone or your iPod or your iPad or whatever?
Well, a lot of the reference books I could absolutely do with having on my iPhone, but I like paper. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like having I like having a guidebook in my pocket, the cargo pocket of my outdoorsy pants, because I like being able to flip through, and it's kind of like what Dennis was saying, except that now I can't find it because I threw them all on the ground. But like,
I like Camp Bell off grid. I like his comment there. It says, "What else is on your sitting on your desk, Jess?"
I have my
scan down, Jess. Scan down.
My Ukrainian. Hey now.
It's not a desk. It's a stack of books.
Got an axe. Scotch.
Oh, I could, hold on, I'll be back.
Got a log.
Say hi to City Girl for me. I seen her wandering around her.
Yeah. Say hi for us. Like, I think that outdoorsy books fall into the same broad categories as fishing. Well, that's an outdoorsy book. As many other, like, there are guidebooks, there are source books, and then there are.
Guys.
Hi there.
Hey, everyone.
How you doing?
But
Hope you're doing well.
Long time no see.
Better. Yeah. Like, it's weird to even think about this, like, because we're in a world where YouTube exists now, right? So how many things do you just crack open a YouTube video for? You crack open up what? But you know what I'm saying? Like, how many things do you just sort of like, piss it, I'm Googling this. There's a book on my shelf, but I'm Googling this. Like that gardening book I just showed you?
Yeah.
I Google everything, dude.
Yeah.
I don't need to have half of these books because I just Google everything.
Yeah, case in point for that, there to support that. My last week I went to take out the recycle, and the paper box weighed about 60 pounds.
Wow.
And I dug into the bottom, and my wife got rid of all her recipes on card.
Wow.
Yeah, we used to have these clear things,
yeah,
like little file index things with recipe cards. And it's like just like probably 800-900 recipes, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, holy crap.
I used to have recipe cards as well, but no.
Yeah.
Chicken thigh oven recipe.
Yep, done.
That's what I do.
And you get 400 recipes.
Yeah. And I have made a lot of recipe books in my time, and yet I don't go into any of them. There's like a million recipe books over there, and I just Google all my recipes. Country Boy Trap in the City says, you spent too much time with your squirrels the way you're darting around looking for that nut you hid. Ha ha ha. Alan has that little version of the SAS book like you, but he's not sure he can read it.
Yeah.
I see. Like, man, us old guys are all coming together on this one now. I always pack up these 2 pair of extra glasses in my pack in case something happens to my originals.
100%. 100%. One stays in the dry bag, and the other one stays on my face.
Yeah, I should probably have extra glasses.
Well, actually, I shouldn't say stays on my face because I only wear them to read pretty much, but I've always got it handy.
Yeah. I love it. If he brings out that song has a roll of plastic, I ain't going. How long did Jess have those saws next to him to make that point? Also, when was the last time you saw him? You know, it's funny because I have gloves here too.
Okay, I'm out of here, man. I don't want to be accessory to the crime.
Is that a silky?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my mini silky. It's I've showed it to you before. It has a little thing, so I actually took it out, and you can hang it from your belt. Yeah. I had to take a bunch of branches off a tree that was in my way on a trail, and what a great little tool! Like it just
I lost the
thing
plastic
I did was
case,
throw away the plastic container.
Yeah, I lost mine too.
And
Yours is bigger than mine though.
That's great.
Is that the 180, 190, 210?
I think it's 180.
140, is it?
No, because this little tiny guy here is the 170. Wait, do we have the same size?
Oh, sorry, it's the 240.
Yeah, you see.
Getting into this one.
Oh, you guys is.
But what a great little tool, and especially that you can just hang it off your belt like that.
Yeah.
And it's just, I went to town.
Now I want to run downstairs and get my silky.
Yeah, it's all silkies all the time up in here.
First thing I did, like I say, I got rid of that plastic case. What a waste of money that was.
I think in my second YouTube video ever, I'm wearing a silky on my belt and it's going,
well,
you know, as I walk.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, it didn't really bother me. So how do you carry it then, Dennis?
Me, I put a lanyard through the hole in the end, and I put a carabiner on it.
Hmm.
But you know what? You know, Freak of Nature, the YouTube channel.
No.
Nope.
But I will soon.
Okay. Well, yeah. Brittany, she does a lot of leather work.
Okay.
And she made me. Remember, I showed you the one time I had that nice leather cup cozy or can cozy.
Yeah.
Yeah. She made that. I just got a new belt, and she makes sheaths for those silky gone boys. That are,
okay.
Look her up on Mrs. Freak of Nature. I'll send you the link later.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Really nice leather sheaths for the silky gone boys.
I love this. You know you're a bushcraft geek, Wen. What are you trying to say, Campbell Upgrade?
Yeah.
What are you saying?
What are you trying to say, Mark?
You trying to hurt us? Trying to hurt our feelings? Can't hurt my feelings. I don't have any. I'm Gen X. We don't feel. We just pretend. Hey, SV Raven Flintlock is in the house. Nice to see you.
David, did you miss it?
Did you damn miss it?
This is how it opens. I'm trying to get it all on screen at once.
I think that's a better size than like this is the 170, and I feel like I should have gone a little longer. I feel like I should have chosen a larger size saw. It's funny. It looks like the handle's a different size, a different shape, and everything on that. Yeah, and I mean, they all do this, right?
Yeah.
Does mine do that?
No. Yeah. Ah, he shouldn't have hit the button. He froze.
Right. Here's a share screen there. I'll show you those sheaths.
Yeah, I'm about to bring it up.
Gone boy sheath, right?
Oh, very nice. Yeah. See, Russell works for yours too.
Yeah. And she's got a few. She does some. Actually, this belt is my belt. She made
That's your belt
for me.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
Very, very nice. Oh.
so excited.
I'm old and I'm working a lot these days. Oh, the Big Boy 2000 is a big ass saw, dude.
It's she made that for John from Lost Lakes.
Oh wow, that was nice.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. And does she just do for the silkies, or does she do for the whatever the Laplander
Sure,
as well?
if you had a bigger one or something, she'd probably do it for that as well. Go to bed. Good night. Love you.
Good night, Mrs. Canoe Hound.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
You said good night, Mrs. Canoe Hound.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.
See you in the morning.
Oh. I also literally on my desk have the world's smallest violin.
Quite literally.
Well, I don't know if it's literally the world's smallest, but it's pretty small.
Can you play it?
No, I'm very lousy at fiddle. I took lessons for a while, but
David, hold on. David, I sent you a link on Discord for that. It's not a knife. It's a saw.
it's a bladed object, but it's not a knife. I love it. David just, I need to get my credit card back from Pam.
Do we get to see this violin?
It's just a
you-
silly little.
Hear you play it?
No, the strings are all busted.
Yeah.
Squeak.
It's a cello.
No, it's a fiddle.
No, it isn't.
It's a damn fiddle.
Let me see it again. That's
So
a
it
cello.
It's got the chin rest. What are you showing there, Dennis?
Hold on a second. I got to do it
Oh, he
again.
closed it.
Man,
Yeah,
it
it
looked like-
started blinking. There
Don't
we
blink. Dennis, are you wearing a Novacraft shirt?
Yeah.
Is that a can koozie?
Yeah, that's the
Keep
can
the adventures
cozy.
alive. That's yours.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hold on. Wait, let her. It's got to flip around. There's the front of it there.
Yeah. Nice.
That's pretty
Very
cool.
nice. Yeah.
She does nice work.
I like it.
Why does the stitching not go right around the bottom?
I don't know. I think so. Like, I've had cozies like that before, so I guess it could drain or something. I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of the foam ones have like an open flap. I've never been able to figure that out. Never
Got to
been
be
able
a
to figure
scientific
that out.
reason for it.
Canadian says it's for moisture.
There you go.
It can drain.
Makes sense.
It can.
Can drain.
Because we're always
Joke.
beer.
You know, there we go.
Hey, Canadian, are you going to the Outdoor Adventure Show the weekend?
Where is Canadian again? He's somewhere in the GTA, isn't he?
I think he's in Canada somewhere.
Yeah. Wait. I think I'm totally wrong.
It won't stay damp and grow mold. There you go. That's right.
There it is.
Makes sense. Dennis,
Outside of
do you have any like this that say keep the adventure alive? Like the cold gel cozies?
No gel mugs or nothing like that. I could send you a sticker to put on it.
You mean like this?
Oh no, that's old.
What do you mean that's
Yes,
old?
like that, of course.
You've changed it?
Uh,
Why would you change it? It's
I don't know
it's
if
terrific.
I got one of the, I got stickers like the Portage one now. This is actually that's a iron-on patch, but I got decals like this too.
Really?
So yeah.
The beauty of
send
having
you
your
some
own
jazz.
printing, the beauty of having your own printing company, eh?
Yeah. I'll send you some, Jess.
Come.
You too, Russell, if you want one.
Sure.
One day when I actually set up a studio somewhere in this house, I'm going to put up stickers somewhere in the background. Like a lot of, I watch a lot of woodworking videos, guys. Like it's awful. And a lot of them, what they do is on like their bandsaw or their pillar drill or something, like they'll just put other channel stickers up. Some of them do it on one of their cabinet doors or whatever. I'd like to do something like that as well in the background of wherever the heck I set up a studio of some sort. You know, show the love for the other channels. The stickers I had made they're no good. And they're not vinyl or anything or PVC or whatever What is this made out of? Because that's weatherproof, right?
That's vehicle grade vinyl.
Yeah, mine are not. They're just paper, and they get
Say
rained on and they
you
give
put
it
on
the
a car or
ghost.
something.
Yeah.
And then it's laminated too with a gloss lam.
Yeah. Wow. Canadian is right next to a Cabela's, though. He's in the Ottawa area. He's saying he hopes that Renfrew has a sportsman show in August. I used to know a girl from Renfrew. I don't mean that in the biblical sense.
You didn't have to add that, Jess.
Well, it's just like I was talking about the length of saws, and then suddenly everyone started going, "Hey, I'm glad I didn't say that." I'm like, "Wait a minute, we're a bunch of children here. Outdoorsmen are all like, we're all children."
Yeah, but you don't have to beat them there. You don't have to. There, I just said it, didn't I?
Yeah. David's he's like, "I don't need stickers." Oh crap! I don't have a logo yet. For me, oh crap is always going to be in the tone of voice from one of Russell's special features.
Oh crap!
Oh crap! I don't have a logo yet.
We got no special features for Bushcraft. Oh crap!
We don't have a logo for David's channel. Linda is waiting for her logo to arrive. I think she had it cut out of metal. I gotta get like, again, when I have a studio set up, I want a big honking logo for behind me.
Oh, I would love a metal logo of something, kind of like what Sean James has.
Oh yeah, man, that's tight. That's nice work. And I think he had someone do that his fire pit too, didn't he? Or was that just like a Cabela's?
Yeah. But I wanted to say, David, did you, I think we were talking about going to Fiverr for logos. Did you try and do that, David? I'm asking you right now.
We're not gonna say, nobody say anything until David answers. just sit there. Just like sit there.
Which nod.
And then every few seconds,
It's going to be a quiet rest of the show.
You ever did? I did that in a video once. I was like, okay, everybody talk to the screen right now and tell me what you think about this video. And I sat there for a minute going, mm-hmm.
Oh, Canadian won one of Dennis's draws. Nice. He says he's waiting on his prize pack. Nice.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you wanted the big packages, eh? Got some chaga maple coming in that one too.
I keep forgetting to enter your giveaways.
Chaga.
Okay. Dave.
Does you have access to a lot of chaga?
Pardon me?
Yeah.
I had a guy on the show, what, three episodes ago? Just before my 100th episode. He's like kind of a chaga expert of sorts, I guess you'd say. He says he's not a doctor, but he knows his chaga, right? So he makes his own maple syrup, but he infuses it with chaga. So it's a medicinal maple syrup, and it's actually freaking awesome.
Nice. Canadian says he'll share pics when his prize pack comes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have to do something with this chaga. I want to. Here's the thing. I have a question about chaga.
He's got the chaga on his desk too. I want to see your desk. Yes.
It's got like
He's got like a little magic box beside him, right?
There's like proof of who shot JFK on there and stuff. There's like.
I showed you guys, right? I have a log on my desk. It's because I want to do another carving video soon.
Actually, on Saturday, I broke up a nice piece of chaga. I had 2 in the garage.
Yeah.
I had to fill my jar back up, so I was breaking up chaga.
Okay, so here's the thing. Now that the hilarity is over, do you guys powder your chaga before making tea out of it, or do you cut it into chunks?
I do chunks, like quarter-size chunks type of thing.
Okay, so after you do your quarter-size chunks,
yep.
I had some horseshoe fungus. I have some horseshoe fungus. Start again. Okay. Take 2. I have some horseshoe fungus that I turned into fire lighting material by pounding it down and boiling it in birch
Polypore, birch bark.
birch
Bark.
ash, Swedish style. After you've used the chaga for the tea, can you do the same thing?
You can.
Because if you turn it into powder the way some people do for their tea or coffee, forget about it. But because that would be the most amazing like dual purpose thing then. Like I have some chaga tea and then I pound that. I was going to say a bad word. Then I pound that buster down and turn it into fire lighting material. Amazing. Like the most quintessential bushcraft thing.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't waste the chaga like that though. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
after you've sucked the life out of it using water, like water extraction.
Mm-hmm.
So when it stops giving color off, basically, dry it out. Put it on a napkin in a little dish in the top of your cupboard. Dry it out for a week, right?
Yeah.
Then take that and save it in a mason jar.
Yeah.
And when your mason jar is about half full of used chaga bits, fill that mason jar up to the top with vodka, and it'll do a alcohol extraction. Which you're smiling because you're not believing what I'm saying, and that turns that into what's called a tincture. And then you use that tincture. You can do like 3 or 4 drops. After it needs to sit for about maybe 3-4 months, from what I've been told. So it'll extract all the goodness out of it. So you get to use chaga twice. A lot of people don't know that.
I am somewhat skeptical, not on the tincture part of it, but the whole like let's keep it in chunks bit. That, to me, that's like saying let's not grind up the coffee bean. Let's just pour water through coffee beans without grinding it up. And I was like, I don't quite get leaving it in chunks. Like even if you use it as powder, which is what I do, and you only need a teaspoon, kind of in a tea. You can still collect that afterwards and save it up in a jar and run your vodka through it and stuff.
Yeah, everybody's
with like
got
a cheesecloth or something.
I find when it's a powder, like the way we make our chaga tea is we take the chaga, and I just put it in like I got one of those old Coleman's coffee percolators you'd put over a campfire or something. That's on our stove 24/7, right?
Okay.
And every morning we get up and we just bring it up to about 150 to 160 degrees, let it steep, and so we've always got chaga tea on the stove, like always. And when you put the big chunks in, but before you know it, like chaga is like a sponge when it's wet. It's like cork, right?
Yeah.
When it's wet, like if you soak chaga for a week in your kettle or your coffee pot, you take that out, you could actually squeeze it. It's almost like cork like. So believe me, you're extracting everything out of it.
Okay, but like
you're not going to get a quick extraction. You're going to get a long extraction.
Okay, and that's legit. But then after all that, you've made your tea. You've probably made a couple of teas out of it. Then you've dunked it in vodka. Then is it no longer suitable for fire lighting at that point?
I don't know, man. I think if you've taken it out of your alcohol and you let that, once again, if you let it dry, then you could pulverize it into whatever you want.
Okay.
Mind you, it's been soaked in alcohol. The thing will probably take a spark pretty damn quick, right?
Fair point. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just making tincture now for the very first time with my old chaga. So
okay,
see how that turns out. I'll let you know in 3 months.
It looks like there's some. Gonna start again. There are some opinions in the side chat about chaga, and a lot of people are saying that they use chunks, but not everyone. I bought the tea and coffee powder and sent a bag of tea to a friend who has cancer.
Yeah.
David says I should go and watch his chainsaws and chaga video. Canadian says, a buddy texted me tonight while watching your show. He says, "Are you on YouTube?" I says, "Yeah." He says, "Are you Canadian?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "I see you on Canoe Hound's chat."
Oh.
Dennis, proving that the world is so much smaller than we give it credit for.
Yeah. Small world.
Yeah. Sharon, they boil the chunks as well.
Yeah.
David just threw down a link to how to make the tea, which I will check out later.
You know what? The guy that was on my show, that Jerry Ouellette, he sells chaga, right? And he sells it in many different forms. He sells it in the bigger chunks like I get. He sells it in smaller chunks, and he also sells powder, and then he also sells tea bags that he does. So he's got it in a bunch of different forms because different people do it different ways, right?
Yeah, and look at what Linda's saying. My instructions say you can My instructions say you can use each tea bag 6 times.
Yeah.
So chaga really is the gift that keeps on giving. Like, because if you use a straight up tea bag, Earl Grey, hot or whatever, use that once and it's done.
Just finishing up my chaga actually right now. So
are you?
Cheers. The guy that used to sponsor me coffee on the show, he doesn't sponsor me coffee anymore. So now I drink chaga every show. So
he doesn't sponsor you anymore.
He's moving on with different things.
He's not making the coffee anymore?
Game and stuff like that. Huh?
He's not making the coffee anymore?
No, he's still doing coffee. He's changed the company name and he's going a different direction. I'll be seeing him this weekend, actually, at the Outdoor Adventure Show. He's going to be there serving with Eureka.
Okay. Alania says, I don't even know what chaga is.
Show him again, Jess. You got a chunk.
It's a fungus that grows on birch trees. It has medicinal benefits, like it's oh my god,
antioxidant.
Antioxidant.
Thank you for. Did you just did a show on this? Come on, help him out.
Did you take all the black off of that chaga?
I haven't touched it yet. This is exactly the way it arrived from Russell's house.
Okay. You carved a lot of the black off it, eh? That's where all the best stuff is.
Well, it's also where all the bird poop ends up as well.
Yeah, you gotta clean it.
Why is the best stuff in the black? I've never heard that before.
Watch the show. Watch the chaga show. Jerry, you know what? I learned so much by having him on the show.
All right. I'll check it out.
Somebody needs to make a chaga book. Somebody probably has, actually.
Chaga what?
Books.
I'm sure they're out there.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I should purchase one if there is one made. Learn about the chaga, the magical chaga. It's amazing. Like, people are just, you steep it for 10 to 30 minutes, says Linda. Sharon didn't know how to make the tincture, though. Okay, but like, what would you use that tincture for?
It's just like taking medication or whatever, right?
Just like your morning.
Oh yeah, like a lot of people get into the regimen of 3 or 4 drops a day.
Okay.
Because I didn't know this too. I found out that you can consume too much chaga. You should only consume so much a day.
Okay.
But by drinking tea, like, you'd have to have like 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 cups of tea, really strong tea, in order to be too much, right?
Right. And would you add sugar or something, or honey or syrup, or just drink it straight?
I just add a bit of raw. I only use raw sugar. I don't use white sugar. So I use sugar in the raw, and I'll put not even a quarter teaspoon, just to give it a bit of sweetness. You could use honey if honey's your thing. You could use maple syrup if maple syrup's your thing. Right. You can make it like coffee, milk and sugar. You can.
Right.
I use it in my oatmeal when I have oatmeal for breakfast. Instead of hot water, I put in hot chaga water, right? Or chaga tea.
When I was at work, by which I mean when I worked at an office rather than at home, I had these little instant porridge packets, the Quaker Oats.
Yeah. And
I would make them with, we had an espresso machine, and I would make them with espresso instead of water.
Yeah.
That's the way you do it. And, that's funny because it's funny because I said it. It's funny because that's something I learned from a YouTube channel that was at that point called Skogniv, which is Swedish for forest knife. But he's from like upstate New York. And he made his coffee with, when he's in the woods, he makes his oatmeal because he's American, so he says oatmeal instead of porridge with strong coffee. I was like, that sounds disgusting. And then I was at work one day and was like, I'm going to find out if that's really disgusting. And I was like, hey, I'm awake. Like now. I'm really awake now. And I was getting work done and stuff. So I just kept doing it because I'm not a big fan of the coffee at all. I discovered coffee the way most people do, right? Paper cone. And I was so let down by the fact that it didn't taste and smell the same. But like if I had discovered coffee through the stovetop maker, the mocha pot, or the Bodum, or the espresso machine, I would have been a coffee monster, you know. So like to me, you know, trying this coffee and the porridge thing was a real revelation.
I
Mocha
call it
porridge. So, is porridge and oatmeal, are they the same?
Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, they're absolutely the same. Oatmeal, like it's just a word for like the meals, you know, like the cereal meals, you know, whole meal bread kind of thing. Yeah, oatmeal is the meal. Yeah, cornmeal. The dish is porridge. The dish is porridge.
We had when I was a kid, it was porridge, and I hated it. I hated, of course, because and now I do the packet thing like you do, Jess. It's much nicer. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's like a dance on your tongue. So I can't call it porridge because I hated porridge. I have to call it oatmeal.
I'll admit that my favorite is like steel cut oats.
Dennis, I'm trying to rise up to Jess's level of describing tastes, and
it's I never heard that. That's very poetic, though.
No, it's all Jess. It's not me. I'm serious.
Speaking of dancing on the tongue, I think I should pour myself another small dram of this race.
Wait, come on, G.
Oh, that reminds me. I'm gonna have to bring some scotch with me to the show this weekend.
Reminds me, I should go to the show one of these years.
Where's the show?
Wherever Dennis is, that's where the show is.
Yeah, the Toronto Outdoor Adventure Show.
Is it actually in Toronto?
Yeah, it's at the International Center across from the airport there.
Yeah, of course. Wait, what's it called again?
The Outdoor Adventure Show.
Outdoor Adventure
holding
Show.
This up for Country Boy Trapped in the City.
Are you doing a talk, like a famous YouTuber talk kind of thing?
Yeah,
sure is.
12 o'clock on Saturday.
Nice.
Yep. Canadian says I should take a bite of chaga. It'll wake me up. I'm not. Christ, I don't want to break a tooth again.
Oh, that's. I used a hammer and a chisel to break it up the other day because you're supposed to break it up when it's fresh off a tree because it's like still soft and a little more manageable. But when it sits and dries for a couple of months, this stuff becomes a brick. Yeah.
You know what I want to do? I know you want to use chunks, Dennis, but what I want to do is get like a coffee grinder. You know those, and I just grind it. And one of the reasons I want to do that is because it's a pain in the ass to kind of process it every time you want to do something with it.
Like with a knife or an axe?
Freaking hard.
I would use an axe.
If you grind it all into a powder, put it in a jar, like a mason jar, and then you can just put a scoop in your coffee or a tea or whenever you want to use it.
Now you use yours as a powder. Don't you end up with like a big sand pile in the bottom of your coffee cup?
Exactly what I was about to ask.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I drink it like a tea. So the chaga powder and the wintergreen that I put into it ends up in a little
in the bottom
of the cup.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you can read your fortune when you're all done drinking it, right?
Exactly right. You read your teas. You steep it for a while, you stir it, and after a few minutes, you drink it. It all settles to the bottom, so you don't have to worry.
Is it single use when you do it that way?
I've been doing single use, but now that you got me thinking about this whole vodka thing, and I'm like, it's alcohol, so why not? I should try that.
Yeah.
Kristen is asking if chaga has caffeine. I've always wanted to try it, but I can't have any caffeine. And I don't think it has caffeine.
I don't think it does, no.
Nope. No, you're good.
Use a mortar and pestle, says David. I use a mortar and pestle almost every day, so I could do that. But man, that would be tough. That would be like
It's
crunch.
well, David did a video on it. He knows.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a very, very good point. But yeah, the thing is, Kristen, if like fungi don't tend to, is it fungi or fungi?
Fun guy.
Whoa.
Fun
Is
guy?
it a fun guy? Or-
Well, I'm a fun guy.
Fun guys.
I hate myself now. But like fungi don't. I can't say the word now without thinking my stupid joke. Funguses don't tend to come with caffeine as part of the package deal. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say no. Yep, I said those things. Oh well. You know, every now and again you say something, you're like, well, I can't get that back.
every day of my life.
There's 3 fun guys on this stream. Yeah. But I don't know, Dennis. Do you have a favorite book like that you always bring with you to the woods?
I'll be quite honest with you. I'm not much of a reader. I've got my book collection of late has been growing quite extensive, but I don't really, if it hasn't got a lot of pictures, I'm not really interested.
Do you have a favorite comic? Do you have a favorite graphic novel that you bring with you?
I think sometimes I have attention deficit disorder, right? Because I have a hard time sitting in one sitting and reading, a couple or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 chapters where people can sit and read a whole book in a night and a half, right?
Oh, I could read a whole book in a night and a half. Absolutely.
You need Calvin and Hobbes, or otherwise, we're not.
Yeah.
Calvin and Hobbes in the wilderness.
Mind you, I got no problem getting through, canoe route books and stuff like that. But when it comes time to read a lot, now it has to really captivate me. Otherwise, like, to keep my attention. Otherwise, it's like, nah, just let it go, right?
I'm kind of the opposite in that, like, I could, like, I'll flip through Roots books and be like, but almost anything else, I just devour. Oh, here's a book. Boom.
I'm like Dennis. I don't have the patience to read stuff anymore. I'll listen to audiobooks in the car. I love them, and they make the time go so much faster. But
so you two had friends as kids, then? That's where I'm seeing the difference is here.
Wait, you didn't have friends when you were a kid?
I had books. Okay, shut up.
If that was your thing when you were a kid, that was your thing, right? Like well, put it this way: my buddy, my regular canoe partner, I got about 4 books that I haven't read yet, and he goes, "Give them to me." He says, "I'll give you the Cole's notes next week." Mm-hmm. It's like, deal.
There it is. Okay, and
give me the highlights, man. Give me the highlights. If I can't read the whole story on the back cover,
forget about it.
You know what? I've been taking a little more interest in reading of late, and it's kind of started with Adam Schultz's most recent book there. I actually sat and read that in 4 sittings. So,
dude, you get a book and you're like, "Where's the trailer? I don't see a trailer here." Like,
looking for the trailer.
When I was in high school, Cole's notes were my friend. Believe me, I should have saved all my Cole's notes from back in school because I had a lot.
What's the American term for Cole's notes?
Cliff Notes, apparently.
Cliff Notes. Okay.
Cliff Notes. Yeah.
I got that from Kristen. She just said it. I'm not American.
I remember in grade 10, my one English teacher, I think every report or every essay that was written, if you use Cole's notes, right, as reference, she knew. Yeah, she knew. It's like she must have had those things memorized, right? Because she knew that you were using Cole's notes.
Oh yeah, look,
she'd ask questions that weren't in the Cole's notes.
In the Cole's notes, yeah, because she wanted you to read the actual book.
It's kind of like in today's world. Well, at least when Wikipedia first came out, you could just kind of copy the students thing and paste it into Google and and find out if there's straight from Wikipedia. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Linda says, I have books. I just get too twitchy to get through them usually. That's why they're in boxes buried in my shed. David owned all the Cole's notes in high school. I never owned any.
Either.
But you know, like, I always saw reading as like a power move. For like, I always saw it as flexing your imagination muscle. You know, like when I finally like when Lord of the Rings got made as a movie, the battles and the action and the big set pieces had nothing on what they were in my head when I was reading those books. But like I have a much harder time reading. Like somewhere around here I have Kevin Callan's Lost Canoe Roots. Oh no, I don't. It's in Ottawa because I left my bag there when Tenenbaum and I had coffee like 3 years ago. Okay, but I had Kevin Callan's Lost Canoe Roots book. I Lost Canoe Roots of somewhere. And I have a much harder time reading through that than I do of something that's a fiction or a memoir or something story related, because I can get caught up in the story, but I have a really hard time sticking with it. Like even, you know, this very pretty coffee table book, I've read like maybe a quarter of it. Because it's basically meant to be a source book. So it's not the kind of literature that I can just sit there and read through. It's about the kind of stuff that I love, right? It's about being in the outdoors. But I'm still not going to read through this whole damn book. I'm gonna cherry pick. I'm gonna
Find
flip
what's
through,
interesting to you, right? Yeah.
find that's what's interesting, and read a little bit. But the problem is, these kind of books don't go deep enough into anything to be really useful as a source book, right? Plot a shot with your computer. Are they getting in depth with that much text? Like, are you really learning anything there? Or is it just sort of giving you the
Cole's
like,
notes.
yeah, this entire book is the Cole's notes of everything.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
the Total Outdoorsman Manual. No, it's the Total Outdoorsman Cole's notes. Everything in here. Set monster gang lines for big water divers. That much text. Beautifully illustrated. Bloody gorgeous. But you know, sharpen a knife with a whetstone. First of all, that should be a YouTube video. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like I don't know what the use of this book really is, aside from, you know, the Field and Stream lover will just buy it, which is what I did because
Armchair enthusiasts.
Armchair enthusiast, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's someone who used to read a lot of Field and Stream, but
there's nothing wrong with being an armchair enthusiast either.
Of course not. Someone has to pay for these books.
Jess.
Mm-hmm. It's okay. We've only got 6 minutes left of the live stream.
That sigh was like a deflating balloon.
Yeah.
Someone's got to pay for it. No, but I'm an armchair enthusiast at times, of course.
So am I. I'm an armchair enthusiast a lot, actually.
I'll tell you what. I love watching videos of guys or girls in wingsuits, you know, flying over the trees and through the canyons, and they're probably going to die, and I'd love to do that. But for right now, I'm an armchair enthusiast. Oh, die doing that sport, yeah. Wingsuits. Yeah,
but here's what I'm talking about, right? Because Paul Curtney's name is on this book rather than it just being some staff writer. Like, what would be 3 inches of text in that book is like 6 pages, right? It's all about buck saws. And then there's a section on using buck saws. I mean, this is also a coffee table level book, armchair book, but this is actually a useful book in many ways. I know some people have certain issues with it. Tenenbaum has an issue with it that I would love to know about, but he wants to wait until I'm finished it to talk about it. So I'll finish it sometime before 2030.
I got to get a copy of that book myself.
Yeah.
It's got lots of pictures.
You know what bugs me about it, though? Does anyone here think that Paul Kirtley's American? Nobody, right? Nobody who's ever heard him speak? So the fact that this book uses American English bugs me. Right? Like if it's pick one of the big American guys, I have no problem with that. But when there's a British dude writing a book, obviously published in the United States and it's American English, I'm like, really? I would have spent extra to.
It's a business decision.
I know, but it's one that bugs me.
He's actually a guy I'd love to have on my show. Paul Kirtley.
Yeah. Did you listen to Kevin Callan's fireside chat with him?
Yeah. That's why I say I got to get that book there because he talks in depth about it.
Well, it's just listen to those guys talk to each other. You know.
When are you going to have Les Stroud back in your show, Kevin? Dennis?
I don't know. I'd have to reach out to him again. Be a lot more pulling teeth.
You haven't reached out to him again? It seemed to me like he had a great time.
You know what? I at no time. The only time I talked to him was on the show. When I tried reaching out to him, you don't go through him. You go through his publicist, right?
Yeah,
I get it.
And they don't make it the easiest, but I do have his publicist's information, so obviously, right, contact stuff, so I can reach out again. Well, I'll probably shoot for something next season. I tried to get him on my 100th episode, but I got no reply at all. So,
how about Ray Mears?
Ray Mears is another one that I'm trying to get, but according to a couple sources, he's probably even a harder nut to crack than.
I've been trying to listen to Les Stroud's podcast, but I'm having a hard time with it. Do either of you guys listen to a lot of podcasts? I suck podcasts in like you wouldn't believe.
I listened to his one podcast where he had Rick James, the Canadian comedian there. I didn't know is an avid outdoorsman, right? So he's another one I'd like to try and get on the show because I didn't realize he was such an outdoorsman.
Right. Yeah. I think he's got some really interesting guests on. I listened to the whole the episodes where he had Bruce Coburn on because Bruce Coburn.
Yeah.
Right. And I listened to the one where he had what's his name? The host of The Age of Persuasion and Under the Influence. I don't remember, but interesting stuff because that's a guy who I listen to on the CBC a lot. I just probably alienated half the audience, but Country Boy Trapped in the City says just his whole life is feeding squirrels. LOL. You think that's pretty funny, but I kind of don't. They've been making a hash of my suet feeder, so I'm like 12 seconds away from doing what Russell suggested I do with squirrels. But I'd have to go to Canadian Tire and buy a boomstick first. To any FBI or RCMP people who may be watching, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I've got something you borrow.
He's kidding as well.
Zachary Fowler, you can learn how to use a slingshot.
Yeah.
That's probably a better thing.
I should get a slingshot. And not for the squirrel. Oh. This is going south pretty fast.
Bushcraft slingshot.
Bushcraft slingshot. Yes. You
know,
fire it into the kindling, and if you fire it fast,
you know I'll never hit it. Oh damn!
Oh, it's an app.
An app, yes, absolutely.
It's a slingshot that fits on your phone like an app. I'm really reaching here. That's really reaching.
That's funny.
Yeah,
the slingshot app. Went to a Ticast football game one time. We always bring the cowbell, eh? It's Canadian football custom. You gotta have the cowbells. My wife forgot the cowbells, and all of a sudden I hear in my ear, I hear ding 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 ding. It's like, what the hell is that? She had a cowbell app. There's one in, ding, 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 ding.
Fair
Not
enough.
very loud, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, so we're at 11 o'clock. So we're gonna shut her down for this week. Thanks for hanging out with us and talking about the books. To everyone who hung out and spoke about books, as I said, we're gonna do it in a few more months again. See who has new books, who doesn't. Let me know if you guys want to do some sort of a book club thing, where maybe a small group or a large group, all read the same book and then do a live stream to talk about it. That would mean maybe some of you guys coming on screen, though. So if you're shy, we'll work that out. But let me know. SV Raven says the Les Stroud podcast with Lisa Fenton was great. I'll give it a listen. Absolutely. But yes, so between tonight and next week, everybody, please be healthy, be happy, be sane, be safe, and be kind to one another. Good night, everybody.
Peace soup.
Okay. I was waiting for that.
keep the